Okay, there's a lot of different varieties of feet on there. And like I said, you can be as creative as you want with the feet. But the first thing I'll do is if I want 3 feet, and you can have a coil foot too, but if I want 3 feet, I will kind of section off the clay first so that they end up being the same size. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with these. So you see that one's a little smaller, so it needs a little more clay added to it. Okay, so I'm going to take each of these and I'm sort of pushing down on the push and pulling back lightly. So I'm pushing and then pulling back lightly. So I push like this way and pull back. And I do that in different spots because I want to taper. So if you're struggling with this flattening out a little bit, you can stop and squeeze it. But again, I'm pushing and then letting up, pushing and letting up. I'll do that to all 3 of them. Okay, so what you saw me doing is using both my hands, and I was pushing harder with my left hand to get my carrots. So now I have my carrots, and then what I'm going to do with my carrots is slam them down and flatten out one side. Okay, now that I have my carrots, I am going to just roll it up so that I get these curly cues. Now, if your clay does crack, just dip your fingers in a little bit of water. Mine seem to be holding on okay. Okay, they look fairly similar, but they're not the same length. So I'm going to take my credit card or my tongue depressor or my popsicle stick, and I am going to cut them off like that. So they're all the same. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is you'll notice that my dish is at a little bit of an angle. So I don't know that I'm going to put them directly on there. I think I want them up a little bit. So I'm going to angle them so that they sit on there the way I want them to. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to score and slip. If you're at school, right now we're going to make a scoring tool eventually, but if you're at school, you can use your paper clip and just do this, rough up the surface, rough up the surface. If you're at home, you can use this. I didn't have enough of these to have in school, and I'm going to decide where I want my 3 to go. Now, you certainly can have 4, you can have 5, as many as you want. And again, this is just one style foot. Now, I said you can't copy me, and what I meant by that is that you can't copy me on everything. You certainly can copy me on these feet. These are not even my idea. But this should look different, right? So it's all the elements that come together to make a unique pot. So now I'm going to put slip on there and do this again. Put slip on here and do it again. Slip on here and do it again. And now I'm going to take this and push them on. Again, works better if your pot is just a little bit stiffer. Okay, so now we have the dilemma. Really push them on there. The dilemma of, is it even? So what I'm going to do is take my little dish, turn it over, and kind of level it. Make sure it's nice and level. So now you can see that I have a mess right around there that I can clean up. So you guys at school have your paintbrushes, and you can take your paintbrushes and clean them up. You guys at home can use one of these pokey tools, but oftentimes what I'll do is I'll just dip a brush into water. So I have plenty of these cups. You can take one home if you want to, or you can just use a to-go cup or a plastic cup. And what I'm doing is just taking a paintbrush. I'm just going to go around here like this. Just make sure that those little lines are away. And now I would need to sign it. Eventually you'll have your stamps, and I would put my stamp right here. So now I am going to, I think, let this stiffen up a little bit upside down, and then I'm going to turn it over and let it dry the rest of the way here. You know, do you want something on the inside? I don't know. I kind of like that one. Okay, other options for feet would be I'm rolling a coil. Okay, I just rolled a coil, and I don't have another pot to put it on, but I'll just show you. I'm going to cut it at an angle here, cut it at an angle here, and I'm going to put those back together. Now I would score and slip this on, and then I would pinch it out. So this would be a coil, but then I would go around and pinch it so that it would be a little taller. So a pinched foot onto a pinched pot, and I'm kind of pushing down. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll go around with either your popsicle stick, or if you're at school, you have a wooden tool, and I'll push it onto the piece with a tool so that I get a nice little design where it's on the piece. And you can see that that design would be around. So that would be the bottom. So that would be the bottom of the pinch pot. Okay, what else could you do? You certainly could take and do little spikes, but you got to make sure that they're not too tall. So I usually squash them down so that they taper like a carrot. So these could just bend out like that, and those could be interesting feet. What else could you do? In the slideshow, there were little sort of bulbous feet like this, and some went out and some went in. You also could take and do different textures on those feet. If you're really ambitious, you can make those feet into something. So little bulbous feet. This certainly could become a leaf, but you have to have a good deal that attaches next to it. So you can't just do a leaf and just attach a little bit. So if I wanted a leaf, that I could put onto the pot like this, you just have to make sure that it has a fairly good attachment. So I want you to wonder, what if I did this? What if I did that? With the rules that it can't be too tall or it'll tip over, and it has to have a good portion attached to your little dish. But really, feet can add a lot of personality. So good luck and have fun.